Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Ultimate Podcast, as we've decided to call it. I am Hunter Heike, and joining me is
Lauren Rowe.
this is for the nonprofit Cure Search, the program Ultimate Hike that we do. This will probably be sent internally to a lot of our hiker alumni or people who are interested in being a part of the Ultimate Hike. But really, we want to see this podcast series as an opportunity to learn more about the program itself and give tips and tricks to the hikers who are interested in joining us on the trail in 2025 and beyond. So we'll start with a little introduction. Lauren, tell us more about yourself and what role you play in Cure Search.
My name is Lauren Rowe, and I am the Community Engagement Manager here at Cure Search for the Western region of the United States. So I support all of our fundraising, volunteers, and effort in our community leadership boards and all of the awesome things we're doing in the Western region of the United States, which means I also support the Central Texas Ultimate Hike, the new Northern California Ultimate Hike, and the Jackson Hole Ultimate.
Nice. And what was your journey like before you joined Cure Search?
So I actually got involved with the organization back in 2019 as a hiker. So I was at REI one day, saw this awesome event and ways to kind of give back and hike. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. So I signed up and then went and participated in a hike weekend and left on Sunday morning. And I told the staff partner at the time before I left, I was like, I don't know what you need or how I can help, but I just know I want to do more. And I became a coach for several years. And then 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years, not quite 2 years yet, but around 2 years ago, I was really lucky enough to come on as staff. So I've kind of seen the organization from all sides, and I'm really excited to be on this side of the program and supporting our hikers across the country. So.
And that's why Lauren is the perfect podcast co-host, is because she has experience not just as a hiker, as a volunteer, as a coach, but also as a staff member. So her wealth of experience will be great as we continue to share more tips and tricks with the hiking people that are listening to this. But for a little bit of my background, I'm Hunter. I joined the organization in February of 2024. So it hasn't even been a year since I've been here. So the dynamic that we're trying to play off is like me is the new guy versus Lauren is the grizzled, the veteran, discussing our programs and the ways that we can be successful within Ultimate Hike. But we envision this podcast series, like I described, going over different aspects of the hike itself, whether that's fundraising, whether that's being on the trail and ways to pack and things like that. And we'll discuss more of those in the future, but we anticipate this one just being a general overview of the Ultimate Hike experience and what you can expect from that program. So, Lauren, in your own words, how would you describe Ultimate Hike?
So Ultimate Hike is a life-changing, life-saving adventure. And you might say, oh, that's a little cliche or cheesy. But as someone who has participated in that, it really is actually factual and the best way to describe it, because it really is going to change your life. They're really hard. They're ultimate, right? We're not doing, 3 miles on a really flat surface. Some of our hikes go up to close to 30 miles. 28.8 is our longest hike. So they're really challenging, hard, but fun hikes. And then they're life-saving. So we're funding the most promising research for kids with cancer, and you get to really make an impact both with your boots and your fundraising dollars. But that's kind of how I would describe the Ultimate Hike as a whole. It really combines the joy of hiking with our mission of advancing pediatric cancer research and saving kids faster and finding them the safer, most effective, less toxic treatment. It is also the nation's largest endurance hiking event that is solely for pediatric cancer research. So other organizations do have events similar to the Ultimate Hike program, but none of them are focused solely on pediatric cancer research. So that's something that really makes us unique. And then also what I love about it is it's open to anyone. You don't have to be an experienced hiker. You can be a person like I was, who had done some hiking here and there on vacations and cool places, but I had never really hiked mileage. But we really, no matter where you are in the skill level, our coaches and our staff are going to make sure you're prepared. So we're going to support you in that journey. So it really is an event for everyone. And it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I had a good experience. I forgot to mention earlier, I'm a part of the Mid Atlantic region, community engagement manager. So I work in Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York type area. So I'm in charge of the Shenandoah Valley hike. So I was a part of that this past May. And it was a really cool experience, really, really well run, to Lauren's point. And you get to be a part of, it is a life changing and life saving thing, as much as it is a cliche, like Lauren said, to talk about. But that is the ultimate goal of Cure Search as an organization. If those who are listening to this and haven't heard about what we do, we focus on pediatric cancer research, trying to get clinical trials to the bedsides of kids as fast as possible. And we'll talk more about what that research and where the fundraising dollars go to in future episodes. But that's at a high level, ultimately, what the Ultimate Hike is working to accomplish. So, Lauren, when it comes to the success that the Ultimate Hike has had, like how long has it been around? How much money have we ended up raising for pediatric cancer research so far?
So 2025 is a milestone year for the Ultimate Hike program. We're heading into our 15th year, which is amazing. There's going to be lots of celebration around that in 2025. I think rumor on the streets is if you hike, you might get patch or something special for being a part of our 15th year. So that's really cool. But again, we've been around. So 2010, 15 years, and ultimate hikers all across the country have raised $11.5 million so far. And that number, they're not done fundraising for 2024. So pretty incredible, the success of what our hikers are doing.
Yeah. And the fact that, the way that we operate as an organization almost provides the research opportunities with full grants for these researchers. $11 million could go towards, upwards of 4 or 5 different clinical trials that we're talking about, depending on what level of research is successful. So the fact that even within these 15 years, we could have potentially, touched the lives of hundreds of children trying to be within these clinical trials makes the Ultimate Hike program very successful. We're really proud of that fact. And that's why we're really excited to see where 2025 and beyond gets us. But if, let's pretend that I'm me, which I am, back in February, and I have just joined the organization. I've heard about Ultimate Hike, and I know that it's some sort of hike endurance thing, but I'm not quite sure like what that means on like from a programmatic standpoint. Like, can you describe what the Ultimate Hike experience is a little bit like to somebody who may have, not done an event like this before?
Yeah. So it is a fundraiser, and we ask every hiker to fundraise that $2,500. But what's included in that $2,500 is 2 nights lodging. So part of the weekend, you're going to come in on a Friday night. You're going to check in. We're going to give you your swag bag. We're going to host like a meet and greet for you and all the other hikers. We're going to have an awesome dinner where we talk about our mission, the science we're currently funding, kind of really deep dive into the awesome things we're doing as an organization, and give our hikers an opportunity to share their kind of why and why we're all together, and really kick off the weekend with a really impactful dinner. And then Saturday, you're going to get transportation to and from the trailhead. So we're going to wake you up pretty early in the morning and transport you to the trailhead, see you off onto the start. And we're going to fully support you throughout the day with aid stations every 6 or so miles, depending on which hike location you're at. And those aid stations have EMS support. They're there to tape your feet and or help you, tape your knees, whatever you might need physically to kind of help you on the trail. And then also we have all kinds of snacks galore, hydration, electrolytes, drip drop. Sponsors all of our hikes. So we have really great refuel for you on the trail. And then we also have coaches supporting you on the trail. And so you kind of get all of that in your hike day. We're going to get you back to the hotel, give you an awesome dinner to kind of grub hard after your long day on the trail. And then Sunday morning, you're going to wake up and we have an awesome awards breakfast before we send you on your way. So included in that is, your whole weekend experience and getting to really make an impact with those dollars. So the most money goes to the kids.
Yeah. I've sort of described it as like an adult summer camp of types, because the relationships between all the hikers is really great. Since so many of them have done it previously at different hikes or the same hike, they get to see friends that they haven't seen in maybe over a year. So that camaraderie is really impactful for those Friday and Sunday. And then Saturday, obviously being the hike day itself, is really cool to see the level of support that everybody has with the different aid stations and everything. Like Lauren is saying, we have these huge boxes to make sure that anything you could potentially need is taken care of. It's really well supported, and it doesn't matter to what degree you are a hiker. We've seen people from the ages of like 14 to 80 be a part of our ultimate hikes. And you don't even necessarily have to finish. We say as long as you get your foot on the trail, you've participated in an ultimate hike. It is a really well supported event and something that we're really proud of to put on. But Lauren, I'm curious, since you've been a part of the hikes for so long, can you list out where all of the hikes are
Yeah,
without looking it up?
you can. So our first hike of the year is always Central Texas. And that's kind of this 2025. It'll be March 29th. Then we head over to the Foothills Trail for our Spring Foothills Ultimate. That is April 26th. And then we go to Shenandoah Valley, Hunter's Home Hike, May 17th, 2025. And then we head to California for our new Northern California Ultimate Hike, which is June 2025. Next up will be the Superior Hiking Trail, August 23rd. And then we wrap up the season in Jackson Hole in September of 2025. And then new this year, we have kind of a baby ultimate hike, which is going to be in St. Louis. So stay tuned for more details about that. It won't be a full weekend event, but we're looking to make a really successful ultimate adventure. So stay tuned.
Yeah. And be sure to keep following up with the Ultimate Podcast to get more information about the different hikes. And then also you can go to ultimatehike.org, I believe, is the website to find more of the information. If you want to register, you can go ahead and do that. And it'll give you all of the pieces that Lauren just listed out, all the different hikes that we have and more information about all of them. We also have a fun little video that explains a little bit more about what the Ultimate Hike program is, because as an organization, we're trying to make sure that all of our supporters have whatever resources they need, and we will discuss more of that in future episodes. But I'm curious, Lauren, if somebody said that maybe they're not a huge hiker, maybe they were like you and didn't do a lot of long distance hiking, and it makes them a bit anxious, and they've decided for whatever reason that they don't want to participate in the ultimate hike, but they enjoy CureSearch as an organization. They think pediatric cancer research is a worthwhile mission and initiative to be focused on. What are some other ways that somebody could get involved with CureSearch?
So there's lots of opportunities to get involved with CureSearch that don't revolve around the Ultimate Hike program. We have volunteers across the country that host gold events, which are really awesome, kind of individualized fundraisers that are really led by our volunteers, but are supported by our staff. So we'll make sure they get an awesome fundraising page on our peer-to-peer fundraising platform and give them any materials they might need. But those kind of events look anything from like cornhole tournaments to bike rides across the country to pint nights at your local brewery, kind of really whatever people feel called to do that their community really wants and that they can, host successfully. And we are always happy to support those gold events. And then we have our walk program, which we have 3 signature walks across the country, Salt Lake City, Denver, and Charlottesville. But we also have lots of community walks going on. So if you really want to you have a big group of people or a lot of supporters in your area and you want to host a community walk, we will support you in getting that kind of set up and off the ground. We've had lots of successful ones just this year. It could be at your workplace. Hunter can talk about a really awesome event he hosted at Johnson & Johnson. It could just be that you have a really big group of, like we have a hiking community in Austin, Texas, Connect and Hike. They're amazing and very supportive of the organization, and they did a community walk there. So their, group members could support CureSearch with just a small local walk in Austin. So those kind of vary. And then we also have community hikes, which might look a little bit different than our ultimate hike. Lower miles, same thing, volunteer led, and our staff is going to support you in your success. And then new kind of in 2023, 2024 is our community leadership board. So across the country, we are launching community leadership boards to really drive our mission and our fundraising efforts locally. We are an awesome team here at CareSearch, but we are very small. Doesn't mean that we're not mighty, because we are, but really we want to be a volunteer driven organization. And so we're launching community leadership boards all across the country to really kind of deep dive into those communities and really make a bigger impact. So those are really cool. We have 12 so far, with new ones launching every day, which is really exciting.
Yeah. And that's something that I think that everybody can get behind is even if you're not a hiker, we'll find a place if you're passionate about our mission and you want to help out in whatever way you can. Like we're more than willing to help out, whether that's, being a happy hour fundraiser, being out at some sporting event, tabling somewhere. We want to make sure that individuals are willing to participate and partner with our organization, then we're willing to give them the resources to make it successful. So if anybody has more questions about that, there's always curesearch.org that you guys can look up. And then you can always find ways to reach out to Lauren and I individually if you're within our markets. Many of the ultimate hikers that are listening to this, have our phone numbers and emails and everything, and we'll hear from them regularly. So we want to make sure that we are accessible to, bring as much good out of the organization and the things that we're doing as possible. So thanks, Lauren, for sharing about all the different ways that people can get involved with CureSearch outside of the Ultimate Hike program. I believe that's right about where I think we're going to call it. But of course, we have to end every Ultimate podcast with the Ultimate Hike question of the day. So, Lauren, I'm curious, what has been your favorite hike?
My favorite hike ever.
However you'd like to interpret it.
That's a tough question, but I think my most accomplished hike would be hiking Half Dome in Yosemite. It's like an 18-mile round trip hike up to Half Dome, which I think is like I think they say it's a 40-degree angle up, but it felt like it was 90. Like I felt like I was I don't know how to explain it, but it's really hard. I literally got to the top of the Half Dome, climbing on the cables with my hands like this, and was like, "This is the most amazing, most rewarding thing I've ever done." And in the video, I'm like, "Except for Hopkins," because I was just running on adrenaline, and like it was so hard, but so epic and so beautiful up there. So I think that's probably my favorite because it was probably the most challenging for me. But I mean, Glacier, which I know might be your favorite. I think, is that your favorite hike, Hunter?
I think that would be outside of the Shenandoah one that we just did. Probably the Highline Trail in Glacier was my favorite, but I think I was telling you about it earlier. Is part of it was the fact that we got into the red jammer cars, like these old cars that you do going up the Sun Road before you get to the trailhead. But yeah, it's to your point. It was beautiful. It was beautiful weather. It was a beautiful view, and it was just long enough that I was really tired by the end of it, but it wasn't too hard. But we make sure at CureSearch, at the Ultimate Hike program, that we're not necessarily going up 90-degree slopes on the Half Dome. We're gonna make sure that people can complete it. So if that's something that you're worried about, feel free to join us anyway, because we're gonna make sure that it's accessible. But yeah, I think I would say either the Highline Trail and even just the Shenandoah hike this past year. I mean, the Highline itself was just an impressive view, like I was saying, and then the distance itself made it a little bit difficult. But the camaraderie of, starting the ultimate hike early in the morning and having everybody finish, and like the incredible spirits that everybody out on the trail had, I think was rewarding in its own way. And I would imagine most ultimate hikers feel the same way. And hopefully you, dear viewer, can join us and feel that experience as well. But any other final things that you have about Ultimate Hike before we wrap up here, Lauren?
No, I think that you nailed it with your last kind of explanation. It really is an epic weekend that you want to keep coming back for. Ultimate hikers are pretty amazing. They're doing incredible things both on and off the trail to help kids who are going through cancer treatments. And, you build this community and you want to come back year after year so you can see your ultimate family. So I think it's you nailed it, Hunter.
Well, I mean, you're a living testament to the program and the relationships that people build. Is like, this is exactly what we want to do as an organization is, you get the people in the front door as hikers, they become volunteers and coaches, and hopefully they become staff in the future, helping guide the program as somebody who's participated in it, I think is incredibly valuable. So thank you, Lauren, for being my co-host for the Ultimate Podcast. As always, like I mentioned, you can find more information at curesearch.org, ultimatehike.org. or feel free to reach out to us individually. But other than that, this is the end of our inaugural Ultimate Podcast episode. We'll continue to talk more about different aspects of the program, like fundraising, coaching, being on the trail. So if you're curious about those things, stay tuned for future episodes. But until then, should we do the tagline? What do we just say? Love you, bye. Should it
That,
be a like that? All right, ready, Lauren?
yep.
Or say it at the same time on 3. 1, 2, 3. Love
Love
you,
it. Bye.
bye.